Hello. Hello, beautifuls. I'm gonna make sure I'm on live. Hello. All right, looks like I'm up and live. When you're hopping on, say hello. I love it. I am good to go. Hello, Samaria. Hello, beautiful. Let's get into the vibes. Let me know that you can hear me. Hi, Bethany. Hello, love. Getting us some music so we can get into all the yummy, the deliciousness of life. Hello. I love starting with music vibes. This is how I start all of my programs. I just love the music. So ground into your body, ladies. Samira. Thank you, love. Samira. It's a beautiful name. I love it. We get to talk about self-love and pleasure and all the yumminess today. I'm so excited. I'm so happy I'm here. Thank you so much for inviting me. This is such a special treat. I love doing interviews on podcasts. I love teaching in other people's groups because there's so many of us women who really desire to be just in so much more connection with ourselves and love inside of ourselves. And the more I can speak out to that and be in amazing groups like this. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for the invite. Yes, such great vibes. I love it. How is everyone doing today? Let me know your feels right now. Are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you feeling excited? Are you feeling peaceful? Share below how you're feeling, even on the replay. So if you're watching on the replay, say hello with hashtag pleasure. Let's do hashtag pleasure for the replay vibes. I love it. So I'm feeling bright today. There's sunshine. There's sunshine today in Colorado. It's been all cloudy and rainy, which is not the norm in Colorado. So I'm feeling just bright from the sunshine today, and I love it. And I was outside, so my cheeks are all red. Feeling good, Bethany. I love it. Let's give the music just another moment, and we'll dive into today's lesson all about self-love, self-care, and accessing that through pleasure in our worlds. I love it. And I have my love mug. Love. Creating all the vibes. Alrighty. So I was so excited. I told my husband he's actually going off camping today, and I was like, I'm all excited. Today I get to talk about pleasure. And my program that I'm running right now is the Embodied program, and we're talking all about feminine power and pleasure. And so I'm doing a later lesson today all about pleasure. So it's just a pleasure-filled day, which is so amazing. Yes, trauma-informed self-care looks very different. This is an important integration for the group. Yes, so important. And so just before we dive in, just a little snippet. I know you ladies saw the little blurb about who I am, and I know some of you ladies have seen me around online, but I am Dr. Chelsea Page, and I've been doing this work for I think this is my 9th year, and I used to be a therapist. So I've worked with all the trauma pieces, and especially in areas around relationship and intimacy trauma and sexual trauma as well. And because I was a sex and relationship therapist, and I just loved working with women and deepening our intimacy with ourselves. And so that's the core of the work I do is I help women heal the relationship with themselves and have that intimate relationship with themselves, which comes from, self-love and self-care and this pleasure piece, which we'll talk about here today. And because this is at the heartbeat of everything, our relationship with ourselves. And when we go through big areas like trauma, which is when we disconnect from ourselves, where we didn't feel safe in our bodies, and so we disconnect from ourselves, and This impacts our relationship with a partner, finding a partner. It impacts relationship with kiddos. It impacts the relationship with your business. It impacts the relationship with money. And really, most importantly, it impacts the relationship with ourselves. So that's, I mean, I do all the things in that. And so this is why I'm so happy to be here and talk on this topic, because it's something I so hold dear in my heart. So when I saw you post um, um, about being in this group, I was like, me, I want to talk about this. This is so exciting. So that's just a little bit about me and my background. So I've been doing this for years and years and helping hundreds and hundreds of women, and it's keeping on growing. So you ladies in this group means I get to add in 100% yes. And please feel free to add in all the comments, even on the replay as well, so we can have that connection vibes. And I could already feel it coming into this group. You ladies were already commenting and excited. And I know it's a small group right now, but going to keep growing and building. And it all starts with connection and being in that intimate place. So I just want you, it already came to mind, but it was line timing. I love it. I love it. So why why is pleasure this piece that I'm talking about in the way of self-love and self-care? And it's one of the biggest reasons, and we'll be diving into this. And I don't know how long I'll be here. I just flow. I just talk and I flow. And so we might be here for half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour. I don't know. I'll just see what flows out of me. This is what I love. That this group is amazing. And but the reason I chose this topic, because there's so many things that we can talk about. Like, I even have another program, the Self-Love Sanctuary program, which is all about, healing that relationship with ourself and seeing ourself in self-love. But I have pleasure on the mind recently, and this is one of the hugest pieces that often gets left out of the mix when it comes to feeling that connection with ourselves and feeling a sense of love for ourselves and feeling the care and the love inside. And because what happens, as I referenced a little bit before, and I know by being in this group, you know a lot of these pieces, which is when we have had traumatic experiences in our past. And it could be anything, right? Anything from sexual abuse to emotional trauma to physical trauma to just silence trauma. I feel like this is such a big one, that when we don't even get any responses from people, maybe you had a really silent mother or father, that this can add a sense of, trauma in our bodies, which is, it doesn't feel safe. And there's a sense of, this is what happens, our sympathetic nervous system, which is all about our fight, flight, and freeze and fawn response, which is like people pleasing, it starts to rev up in our bodies. And so we're used to carrying the sense of revved up energy in our bodies. And as a result, and I know I'm like skipping across the surface on this because this isn't all about the trauma training, but as a result, we disconnect from our bodies because it didn't feel safe to be in our bodies. And to be an integration in self-love and self-care is to have all parts of us, our minds, our hearts, our soul, and our bodies included in this intimate connection that we have with ourselves. And when we don't include our bodies in that process, we're not including such a huge component, because our bodies is the home of our soul. Our bodies is, where we go, we will always follow. Our body is with us and has always been with us. And even though our bodies have evolved and our bodies have changed and look differently, of maybe you've had kids, or maybe you've lost weight or gained weight, or just age changes our bodies, but it's still the same body as that we were born in. We still have that same essence of our body, even though we have cell rejuvenation and all that piece, but we're not going to go into that. But it's our body, and connecting to our body and feeling the pleasure inside of our body is such a beautiful experience in this world. but we often don't go there. A lot of us that live in our trauma, we live from here up. We disconnect from here down. So if there was physical abuse, it's like it's not safe to be in my body because my body experienced a lot of pain. Sexual abuse, my body experienced a lot of pain, so I'm going to disconnect from it, right? Any of the pieces. So we disconnect and then we live from here up. And I don't know about you, but my mind is very creative. Our minds can think of a whole lot of shit. Hopefully, cussing is okay because it's going to happen. Maybe put your earbuds in if you've got munchkins. Well, we're talking about pleasure, so that's going to happen. But we get all up in our minds. And this is also a trauma response when we're overthinking things, when we are trying to be perfect, when we are in these modes of protection. It's in the sense of in our minds because we're trying to think our way to safety. We're trying to think our way into feeling safe in this world when really the place to feel safe is inside of our body. And an avenue for that is through our pleasure inside of our bodies, the pleasure of the experience that we have inside of this in this world. Because it's through our body that our soul self, so we all have a soul self, our highest self that we have, that's from whatever you believe in, connection with God, source, universe, whatever aligns for you. And we have our soul self, and then it gets to experience this world through our bodies. But then we cut it off, and we cut off all of the experience. So this happens. So if we look first kind of outside of the bedroom piece, so outside of the bedroom piece, this means a place of being in this self-love and self-care is, say, bubble baths. You probably see this all the time, like go take a bubble bath or go get your nails done. I mean, I love getting my nails done, and this is self-care and that's self-love. Not necessarily. Think our way to feel safe. Love how you phrased that. Yeah, this is what we do. We try to control our environment because if we can control our environment and know all the plans, this is our overachiever, overdoer, perfectionist side, these parts of us that try to keep us safe, but it actually disconnects us from ourself, which is where our true sense of safety lives. So, into our body. When we're in our body, we're in love. When we're in our body, we're in safety. When we're in our body, we are connected intimately to ourselves. But when we learn it's not safe to do that, then, right, we do the disconnection. But when we experience, right, say the bubble bath or getting nails done, that kind of thing, this is a very surface level type of self-love that happens, because what also needs to happen is not just the doing and the action, but also the receiving of the pleasurable experience that you get to enjoy. So I don't know if this has happened to you, but you might have been, say, maybe you took a bubble bath. Maybe you did get your nails done. Maybe you did try to sit on the couch and relax and just feel the pleasure of being. So if there's the masculine, feminine energies. I know a lot of you know and understand this, but just a small recap, if you don't, is masculine energy is a doing energy. And we live in this place when we've experienced a lot of trauma, because that's I gotta do, I gotta prove, I gotta control, this is the wounded masculine, because a supportive masculine is actually supportive, not suppressive, right? But our feminine energy, which is in the being mode, this is in the receiving and leaning back and feeling, being in our bodies and being in the experience of the world and feeling the pleasure of the experience that we are doing in our life. So if you are in a bubble bath, the action is there, but are you actually receiving the pleasure of that experience? And so many of us women don't actually receive the pleasure of that experience. We're like doing it and we're like, okay, like I should be feeling good, right? Like everything, like I'm doing it. I checked it off the list. I did the self-care piece. I did the self-love piece. I'm doing it, and I should feel better, right? I should feel good, right? But we got to have the other hugest piece of it, which is the letting that experience sink into your body. Because when you let that experience sink into your body and feeling the pleasure of that experience, That is self-love. That is the self-care piece, not the action of it. Anybody can do the action. Anybody can hop into a bubble bath. But it's you and your body and your unique experience, your unique connection with that experience that allows you to have that feeling of love that nobody else gets to feel. Because your experience of these self-care pieces and self-love pieces, like, taking a nap, doing a bubble bath, enjoying, before this I had lunch out on the patio, just enjoying the sun on my face. My experience is very different than your experience, but we got to let it in. It's letting it in, receiving, leaning back. That's the feminine energy. Love that, receive the pleasure. Yes. But we don't receive the pleasure. We often don't receive the pleasure because, and there's pleasure everywhere. There's literally pleasure everywhere, like everywhere. Just the pleasure of, and we're talking about outside the bedroom, and I'll talk a little bit more about inside the bedroom inside the bedroom, although it can happen anywhere, type of experiences. But that receiving of pleasure, just the pleasure of the sun on your face, the pleasure of just standing still and being and not doing anything, just being in the experience of your body and the existence of who you are, that also is pleasure. That you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do the bubble bath. And I keep using that as an example because it's a very common, right, type of place we think about the bubble baths and getting your nails did, right? But there's pleasure everywhere, and we don't even have to do anything. Just like right now, just take a moment, hand to heart, take a big breath. Just the pleasure of the silence maybe around you. Maybe there's some kids in the background. You can hear that. Can that be pleasurable to hear? The pleasure of just the breath moving through your body as you take a big breath. The pleasure of just being with yourself is such a beautiful thing. But I understand that this being with yourself and the receiving of that pleasure it feels uncomfortable. It feels unsafe. It feels like a danger zone, especially when we're really high into the response that we're used to in our body, which is the trauma responses in our body, because the parts inside of you that want you to stay detached from your body is gonna freak out. Like, no, 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 no. You can't just breathe and be with your body. Like, that's not safe. You can't do that, because back in the day, it was not safe to do that. So this is when your inner protectors come in, and the work that I do, it's parts work that I do. So if you've seen that movie Inside Out, so what is that? Is that a Pixar movie? Yes, it's a Pixar movie. Is it? Doesn't matter. But that movie Inside Out, it simplifies, but it's very representative of what actually goes on inside of us. We have all these different parts inside of ourselves that have these different protection strategies, and we have like our inner child. I'm sure you've heard of that. That's been pain and wounded. That's where the trauma has happened from. And our protectors, they come in to say never again. This is their claim. This is their like mission. They're like, never again. I'm never going to feel that again. That was really painful. That sense of trauma that I felt, that hurt that I felt, that pain that I felt, that lack of safety that I felt, that abandonment that I felt, everything that I felt in that one experience or multiple experiences growing up has the protectors go, never again. And now I'm on a mission to help you, right? To help Bethany, right? To help Samira, to help, whoever never feel this pain again. Meaning not going to the body. So we go externally distracted. Yes, Inside Out, such a good movie. So we go externally distracted. So this is where things like people pleasing comes in. We try to control our environment by pleasing others. Therefore, we don't have to feel any pain. But conveniently, it means we're not feeling in our body. We're external. Perfectionism. We're seeking externally by trying to control our environment and have everything be perfect so we don't have to feel any pain again. And also meaning we're avoiding ourselves and our bodies. right? Overachieving, doing all the things, do, and proving all those pieces. That's another protector, right? I'm going to do all the things to prove myself, to make sure that everything's okay, while also conveniently avoiding my body, avoiding my emotions, avoiding the pleasure inside of my body, the body experience that I have, looking externally. And then we have, right, there's so many different versions. We have the numb out part of us, right? That's like, I'm just going to numb everything out. I'm going to hit this numb out button. And we do this. Sometimes we have such a strong mechanism inside of our body that we can numb it out ourselves. We don't even need anything, right? We have a numbing out response. This is a protector. Sometimes we go to things to numb out, right? Really, the protectors of people pleasing is a numb out mechanism, perfectionism is a numb out mechanism, overachieving, proving, that's a numbing out mechanism, turning to alcohol, turning to food, turning to working out all the time, right? Even going nose deep into personal development and watching a ton of videos like this, although I'm really glad that you ladies are here, but sometimes we also go and avoid ourselves by gaining more information without actually doing the integration, right? So the integration comes back into our body. And so being in this place of understanding, so I want you to even just consider right now, can you even, if you want to share it in the comments, is can you name a part of you right now that you know is blocking you from being in your body, that's blocking you from really, really, truly opening, which is vulnerable. And when we've experienced trauma, vulnerability is like, nope, we're going to close everything right on down. So what blocks you? Do you know a part of you? Can you name one that blocks you from opening so that you can receive, right? Receive the pleasure of that bubble bath. Receive the pleasure of your partner kissing you and kissing you on the neck. To receive the pleasure of smelling those delicious flowers that you got for Mother's Day. That prevents you from actually receiving that experience. Ooh, yes, 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 Bethany. I'm glad you ladies are resonating. So we all have these protection parts of ourselves. And this, when we can identify the parts inside of us that are blocking us, then we can start to understand where they're popping up and to really start accessing more of this pleasure in our body and doing it in small increments, right? This is something that I teach a lot of my clients is we don't want to, the analogy I like to use, especially when we've had trauma in our lives, and unfortunately so many of us women have experienced this, and men too, is we have to go slow in this process. So I like to think of it as like a swimming pool. If you think of a swimming pool, there's like the shallow end of the pool, right? And you can get in, and maybe if it's like super shallow, you can, get in a little bit, but there's like a lot of your body is out of the water, so you're not in the water, right? And you can even back it even more. Maybe you're dipping a toe in, right? You're dipping a toe. And really opening up to receive, to experience the pleasure in your body and receive this love. Even receiving love, that is pleasure. Love is a pleasure piece, and pleasure is our portal to our power. And so when we can feel in our body, we can access love, we can access power, we can access pleasure, we can access like freaking everything, which is amazing. But when we shut ourselves off, we can't receive love from others or even ourselves. So that's why opening into receiving that pleasure and the love that comes in, it goes through the same like channel, right? It's like opening the same portal, and then we have access to our power within, and then we can feel the pleasure in our body, and the love that's in ourselves and from others. It goes to the same avenue, but then we have a bunch of construction road signs and everything that says shall not pass. So back to the pool analogy, it's going slowly, so you not shocking your body. It's not wanting to go into the deep end of the pool and all of a sudden being like, all right, I'm ready. I'm just going to open myself to pleasure. I'm going to open myself to the self-love. I'm just going to blow everything to the wind, and I'm just going to be open, and I'm just going to feel all the feels, and I'm going to have this experience. Your trauma is going to go, that is funny. You're cute. You're cute. So we have to go slowly because it's having this slower integration. Slower not meaning worse, slower not meaning bad, slow not meaning wrong, but slowly so that you're honoring your body and the experience that you have so that you can gain comfort with pleasure, comfort with self-love, comfort with receiving. And it might mean dipping your toe in, and then that gets comfortable, and then you go up to like your ankle, and that gets comfortable, and then maybe you're up to your calves. When you're there for a while, and then that gets comfortable, and then you get more comfortable, and then maybe have you ever gotten into the pool? I'm definitely not a jump into the deep end kind of lady, but you get up to like your stomach and you're like, whoo, that's kind of cold, that's kind of cold. So that might be a point where you're like, ooh, this is hard, this is tricky, opening myself up even more and feeling this. It's a little bit of a shock to the system. And then we slow it down a little bit and stay there for a bit so your body can actually acclimate, if that makes sense. I have to run, lunch is over, but can't wait to come back to this. Oh my gosh, yes, come back to the replay. No worries, Bethany, no worries whatsoever. So when we have this understanding that pleasure is self-love, and it goes all down the same portal, and it means opening yourself. It's opening yourself to yourself, opening yourself to the experience of this world, and letting, excuse me, always get burpy when I'm like talking and channeling all this stuff. And my nose gets runny too. So if you join deeper into my world, you'll know. A lot of my videos are like, I'm sniffing, I got burpage. Not all the time. But when we understand that that is really the self-love piece. So it's not all the actions and the doing, right? Like the buying yourself flowers, or if we think of, if you ladies have heard of the 5 love languages. So the acts of service, the physical touch, the words of affirmation, the gift giving, and the, I'm missing one. What am I missing? Physical touch, acts of service, gift giving, words of affirmation, acts of service. I think I already said that. I'm brain farting on what the last one is. But we can do these also for ourselves, these self-love pieces of, if your, love language is acts of service, do you actually do things for yourself? If your love language is gifts and you want, your partner to give you gifts, but do you ever actually give yourself gifts? There's pleasure in that as well. So we want to make sure that we're doing the things that are in acts of love, that are love actions, are those love languages, but we have to go deeper below that. So although, even though that book is amazing, if you haven't read it, definitely read it. Even though it's really helpful and really powerful, it really means absolutely nothing if you're not letting it in. If you're not letting it in. If you're doing all these things for yourself, but you're not actually receiving the pleasure and the love of the experience, then you might as well not even done it. It's just all wasted, if you will. If you are buying yourself gifts, but you're not actually letting yourself receive the pleasure of that, instead you're like, no, I don't deserve this. No, I feel guilty. Now I feel shameful that I'm taking up this. Maybe you took some time to go get a massage and you feel shameful for actually receiving the pleasure of that experience because you were taking time away, and maybe your husband had to watch the kids, and now you feel really bad, right? This pops up so much for us women just in general, and then you add that layer of the trauma piece on that. It goes nope. Not only do I feel bad about having this experience, but it also doesn't feel safe to fully receive that pleasure experience. So is this making sense, ladies? So we want to receive it in. And this also, as we deepen into this pleasure piece, and I'll say one last thing before I go into this deeper piece, is pleasure gets to be, and it's so simple, right? And this is really hard, especially for our, prove it, overachieving, perfectionist type of mind that so many of us ladies have, is we feel like we need to do all these fancy things in order to have self-love and self-care. It doesn't have to be all that fancy. Doesn't have to be that fancy. We think it has to be all these bells and whistles, and we have to do more and more and more, but really it's receiving more and more, opening to more and more. So if you think of one beautiful self-love piece that you do for yourself, if you've received all of the pleasure, like say that massage experience, if you receive all of the pleasure from that experience, you're just like, oh my gosh, right? Really allowing all that touch to happen for your body, really allowing just a experience, not feeling guilty about it, not feeling shameful about it, not feeling like I can't have this, knowing that it's safe to be in my body. My body is safe. It's safe to be in my body. My body is safe. It's safe to be in my body. This is the home of my soul. And pleasure is the energetic experience of my body. And being in that place and owning that place and receiving in that place is, then you're really like, oh my gosh, this is so good. Then you're really, really fully feeding your soul. When you really allow, right, the opening, and I know it's this, right, we open a little bit and we get comfortable, just like the pool analogy, and so it's not going to be a full opening at first. This is where you get practice with pleasure, which we'll talk about at the end, for just a focus for you to really implement and integrate into your life moving forward. Is we have practice receiving that, because the more we receive it, the more we're feeding our soul, the more we're feeling and feeding our soul that self-love, and ourself that connection of love. And it's almost like the equivalent of eating a full, nutritious, delicious meal that your body feels so satiated, as opposed to just eating like a grape and you're still hungry. This is what happens when we're not comfortable yet with opening. That vulnerability is not as comfortable yet, that we're not as open into the safety of our body yet. And I say yet because it's coming. It's a process of unfolding and an evolution in your whole process to coming back home to you in yourself. Is as we open, it might be grapes, the equivalent of grapes at first. But can you receive that grape, that extent of that you can, and then you get to feed yourself more and get comfortable with more, knowing that you deserve all the pleasure that this world has to offer. You deserve to experience that love inside of your body, because pleasure is love and love is pleasure. There, all of that emotion, all of that energy moving through your body, it's like one and the same. They're on the same frequencies. They flow in. Love is pleasure, pleasure is money. And that was weird, that not Freudian slip, but just a slip around money, because that's also what happens too, which we're not going to get into. But money, receiving money, so anybody who's an entrepreneur, this also blocks your receiving of money, because money is on the same frequency as love. And if we block that because we're not feeling open, safe to open and receive, we're also going to block the pleasure that comes with receiving money. And we block the pleasure that comes with receiving clients. We block all of that pleasure, which means we feel like we don't deserve it, which means we're denying ourselves of love and pleasure. All right, a little mini tangent, but that apparently just popped up into my mind. So as you open in and really experience this pleasure inside of your body, and allow yourself, even claiming, can you claim right now that I deserve to have a pleasurable existence in this world? And I know it's hard, because when trauma has been such a huge part of your life, when it hasn't felt safe, when you're used to feeling not good in your body, when you're used to feeling the discomfort in your body, not living in that, and instead living in the peacefulness and the openness. It's almost like, I was telling the ladies in my group the other day, that it almost feels like this beautiful emptiness. And this, like, for me, this is where my kind of natural state of happiness lives. It's almost like this emptiness, and then the volume kind of gets turned up with experiences, and then it gets more and more yummy and delicious. I always love saying that about life. It gets to be yummy and delicious, right? But when we're so used to, the volume is turned down on that yummy and deliciousness and that pleasure, we're used to experiencing the tension in our body. We're used to experiencing the ickiness in our body. We're used to experiencing or nothing in our body at all. Then it's almost like a shock to the system. It's like it's almost like the mind does not compute. It's like, wait, what is this pleasure thing? It's like this foreign substance. It's like, well, what is this? What is this? What is this pleasure piece? Right? We cannot have pleasure and love moving through your body. This is like, no. It's like Gandalf, like, you shall not pass. This is what your protectors do. You shall not pass. We can't have any of those feels. I don't care if it's supposed to be feeling good. I can't have any of these feels inside of my body. Nope, you shall not pass. But it's allowing yourself to let it pass. And one of the, what's the word? word that comes to mind is one of the hard things, but it's not necessarily hard, but it's kind of this tricky place is pleasure often. So as we even move in, so I want to move into the bedroom, please. So if we think about even like self-pleasure, so self-pleasure in masturbation, and I often don't like using the word masturbation because it, I don't know, just has, for a lot of us women, it has this negative connotation. And so it's kind of reclaiming the power around that. I mean, you can reclaim that word if you want to, but I love just self-pleasure. It just feels so yummy. Masturbation just feels clinical. Well, like, well. And there's often a lot of shame that's wrapped up around that. But being in this self-pleasure place is also self-love. So in the times that I, do self-pleasure, is this is self-love because it's connecting you to your body. You get to touch your body. You get to experience the pleasure inside of your body. That is also an act of self-love, which can be counterintuitive if there was a lot of shame that was said around self-pleasure, and also if there was a lot of, if there was physical or sexual trauma that happened in your past. Feeling, again, anything in your body can be like, no, this is bad, this is negative, this is wrong, this is not okay, when really being with your body is the most beautiful, amazing, glorious, like fantastic thing that you can have. This is like your coming back home into your body and feeling the safety in your body is like the epitome of self-love. Like, forget the nails, forget the bubble baths, forget the flowers you buy yourself. Like, those are, yes, amazing, but yes, 100%, the being in your body, touching your body, like even when you're taking a shower, do you just like utility do the shower, or do you like slow down and like massage your hair? Do you put lotion on nice and slowly just to slow down and experience? When we slow down, this is a very feminine way to do things. We're not just doing, rushing, but slowing down and feeling you touching your skin. And then, right, when we do self-pleasure, it's touching all parts of ourselves and our genitals and all the most amazing and divine parts of ourselves. But what can happen, especially when, so now we're going to get even deeper inside of this. So when we think about even like orgasm pieces, so many of us, especially, so sometimes when we've experienced trauma, because we're so shut off in our bodies, a lot of us women don't experience orgasm. And sometimes we do, but our sexual self is actually disconnected from the rest of ourself. So we can let our sexual self come and play and like, do all the things, but we don't bring our emotions into it. Being an integration is having this sexual experience and bringing our heart into it. So it's our body and our heart, but so many of us don't bring our heart into it, and we maybe play in the sexual realm. So you might find this for yourself, whether past partners or your current partner, that you might maybe not even allow yourself to feel the building of pleasure in your body, or you do, but you're not bringing your heart on board, if that makes sense. So what's that tricky and hard piece, as I was referencing before, is what can happen is, because when orgasm happens in our body, and even just pleasure in the outside, when just touching your skin or feeling the sun on your face, what happens is it builds this tension energy in your body. Pleasure is energy in your body. And when you are experiencing this building of orgasm, it's this building of tension. So I'm down here, you can't see me, but it's this building of tension that happens. But here's the thing. When our bodies say that tension is unsafe, that tension and this energy in my body is bad, that when I experienced in the past, it actually was, it was a very painful situation. So tension equals bad, tension equals wrong, tension equals pain, which it was for you in the past around the trauma that's there. But it's redefining for yourself and reclaiming that building of tension in your body when you're feeling, so just emotions in general. We can't hold that tension in our body because our body says it's unsafe. Our body says no, 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 no. So what gets grouped into this is love. So experience love in your body is an energy, it's a feeling, it's an emotion inside of your body. And so we say no because tension equals bad. That's the claim, that's the belief. Same thing with pleasure. It's like, no, I can't allow myself to build this pleasure because not only is it tension in my body, because if you've experienced this, and so just even in my own experience, and I've helped like tons of women around this, is we have to relax and let go to feel the pleasure, but it's also a sense of tension in that we're holding that pleasure inside of our body. So we allow it to kind of flow, but then we're having this tension. It's kind of almost like that masculine energy to support the building of. It's almost like the masculine energy goes like this in your building pleasure. It's like lifting, 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 lifting until whatever climactic experience that you have, which, side note, doesn't have to lead to orgasm every time. That's a whole other conversation. But that building of tension, this is where we need to allow that to happen, for pleasure to be there, in this building of even love. Because again, pleasure and love are in the same frequency, in the same field. But if we don't feel that it's safe for that tension to build in our bodies, then we don't do that. We close it all off. And then so many of us women do this. We might be present either with ourselves, like we might not even do self-pleasure. It's like, no, like I don't even feel that. I've heard this from a lot of women, especially in the trauma place, is I don't even feel anything. I don't even feel any desire to, self-pleasure. Don't even have that. It's just because you're disconnected from your body. Or maybe a partner wants to be intimate and you're like, maybe. And then you show up in obligation and we're just being there in body, but not actually in the energy of our body. Ooh, it's 11:11 here. But not being in the energy of our body, okay? So when we have this understanding, so this is kind of some education piece, but I want you to just understand why we're blocking ourselves from the pleasure, because this has been our experience. So this is where I want you to start flipping this for yourself, that the tension, the holding of energy in your body. And in my Embody program, that was me. Yes, Bethany, this happens. What happens is, I don't know if you've heard this phrase, especially for a lot of us women in the online world and online entrepreneurs, is there's this concept of you have to be able to hold it all. So this often gets talked about in business side of things. You got to be able to hold it all. But what the heck does this actually mean? So there's a bunch of nuances to this, but in the context of what we are talking about right now, is holding it is being able to hold the energy and emotions that's happening in your body. Whether that's pleasure that's coming in, or maybe it's sadness that's being felt inside of your body, being able to hold space for that inside of yourself and allowing it to be there and be felt. This is why we shut ourselves off to pleasure, but this is the thing, our nervous system does not discriminate against emotion. I'll say that again. Our nervous system and our protectors that really co-collaborate with our nervous system do not discriminate against what emotion is being felt, what energy is happening in your body. Trauma says any tension, any energy in the body is bad and wrong. Any of it. So sadness, pain, pleasure, all of it is an energetic experience in your body. And when there's this blanket statement that it's all bad and it's all wrong and it's all unsafe, then you shut yourself off to everything. So you might find yourself that, you're trying to avoid, just like we talked about before with those protectors who are externally focused, you might find yourself that you're trying to shut yourself off to yourself, even though you might not be trying to. It's all often a subconscious thing. The more you bring this into awareness, the more you can shift things. Is when you are trying to do this, or not trying, it's just happening because it's just an automatic response that you learned how to do since you were maybe a little munchkin or a teenager or whatever age that you had to learn these strategies for, is when you are reshifting it, it's saying that, okay, I get to be in my body. I can experience this emotion. If we shut it all down though, it pops out. Maybe anger pops out over here, or all of a sudden you're crying like for something you have no idea what you're crying about, Or, right, emotion just kind of pops in because emotion has to have some place to go and it can only be trapped inside of you for so long. So it just pops out. But it's part of this is self-love too, is allowing yourself to hold the energy and the emotion that's being experienced inside of your body. This to me is what self-love is. Holding the emotion and the energy that's being experienced inside of your body with love, with compassion, with unconditional space. Not saying, oh, you only can show up when I'm ready for you. So this happens. So I'm going to tell you a very key example of, so I'm not perfect by being here. This is something that I'm always on a continuous journey of. And what time do we got here? 45. Perfect. So we'll probably wrap up around an hour. I was talking with my coach the other day, and we're talking about celebration. So celebrating of things is also in the realm of self-love, and pleasure is how often do you celebrate yourself? Do you allow yourself to celebrate? Do you celebrate your birthday? Do you celebrate a new client coming in? Do you celebrate these things? Oftentimes we don't, because it's pleasure, it's self-pleasure that's here, and we're not allowing it to come in. And we often say, okay, I can feel this. So sometimes maybe we allow things to come in. We allow pleasure to come in, but in a very controlled environment. This is the trauma speaking. It has to be all controlled. Can't just be whenever. Can't be spontaneous. So I realized, I had no idea I was doing this. How funny is this? That when we just realize things, we just go, and then we could start to shift them. We don't want to be shaming ourselves or mad at ourselves as we're getting to discover and learn ourselves more. But I was realizing, I was telling my coach this, or we had worked through, is I was blocking myself from receiving the pleasure and the love and the experience of money and clients coming into my world because it didn't fit in my calendar. Because I'm like, well, how do I know if I'm going to be able to receive this experience in the best way? And she's like, you don't need to have it be like some porno. Life doesn't need to be a porno. Pleasure in your life doesn't have to be a porno where it's all hoots and hollers and moans and sounds and some epic scene and scenario. And that it's always a good time to receive pleasure. It's always a good time to receive love. It's always a good time to receive celebration. It's always a good time, by extension, to receive money, to receive clients, to receive, attention from your partner. It's always a good time for that. But our trauma goes, no, I have to control when I receive that. Because if I don't know when I'm going to receive it, I don't know if I can hold it inside of my body at whatever time. So then we block ourselves. Right? See, we block ourselves in all the different things. This is where we just have awareness. And on that note is also, as I referenced in, that the pleasure, right? The pleasure that you're experiencing in your body doesn't have to be some huge production like a porno. For me and myself, when I am feeling in the pleasure of this world, it's often, sometimes it's excitement and it's a lot more of this joy, but oftentimes when I'm in my pleasure of, whether it's self-pleasure, whether it's just the experience of pleasure, like the sun on my face, it's just it's quiet, it's simple, it just has the around it. Not woo, it doesn't have this huge hello lovely jumping on. You're gonna have to watch the beginning, definitely, for sure. So this is something too, is can you allow yourself to open yourself to the love that's inside of you and outside of you in this world? Can you open yourself to the pleasure that's inside of you and outside of you in this world? And can you allow yourself to let it be an evolution of your growth? That you have had a lot of pain in the past. And so that pain is going to, in an effort to not feel that pain, we stop the pleasure, and when we stop everything, we stop it all. Love, pleasure, all the pieces. So being able to hold yourself while you're feeling the pleasure and allowing the full space of that. And even it means allowing yourself to feel the more uncomfortable type of feelings like sadness and hurt and pain. But I promise you, your body can handle it. You are never given anything that you can't handle. Your body gets to enjoy this experience on this world. And I know there's been experiences in the past that were far away from enjoying, hence the trauma that happened. But you are not at that place anymore. And it's allowing yourself to even believe. So this is where it starts. And I want you ladies to focus on these areas moving forward, is to just even start with, can I open myself up to believing that it's safe to be in my body? Can I open myself up to believing that I deserve love? Can I open myself up to believing, right? And not even maybe asking that, I would just even claim it. I am opening myself up to believe that I deserve all the pleasure that this world has to offer. I am opening myself up to experience my body and all of the amazingness that it has, and that I can handle it, and I'm learning to handle it, and I'm opening myself up to really receive all of these pieces more and more in my life. Because this, I see it all the time, all over the internet, all of these claims of, doing things, and especially online entrepreneurs, is this is the hugest piece that gets left out of the mix, right? And we talk about feminine energy and receiving, but it's like, what does that actually mean? It means opening yourself up to the energy that's within you, opening yourself up to the experience that you have on the inside, and loving yourself through that, not shaming yourself, not judging yourself, not saying it's bad or wrong. So just some kind of tangibles I want you to focus on over the next couple weeks, just kind of like a little homework type of piece, is I want you to write out some new beliefs that you want to hold inside of yourself about pleasure, about self-love, about the experience inside of your body. And if it feels, as I said, of just claiming, it's safe to be in my body, sometimes we don't want to claim that right away, because there's going to be a part of you, one of those protector sides of you, that's going to go BS, because back in the day, at this time, on this day, this happened and it was not safe. So your protectors are stuck in the past. But your highest self, your soul self, knows that you are safe and it's all okay. But instead of claiming I am safe in my body, and it maybe activates some of that, oh no, that's a bunch of BS, I don't believe that. That's when you use the words of the process of. I am in the process of believing that it's safe to be in my body. I am opening myself up to believe that I get to experience pleasure. I am, allowing myself to be on the journey of deepening the self-love inside of me, right? Just some examples. So just writing out these new beliefs, these new declarations, and this is where it starts to be, because it's not just about the mind stuff. So when people say you can just think your way into a better way, no. Think yourself to self-love, no. Think yourself to pleasure, no. Think yourself to a better life, no. You can't do that. We have to have our thoughts and the emotions inside of ourselves and our body inside of ourselves say, yes, I agree with that. It all needs to be, this is what alignment is having our mind, heart, our soul, our body all on the same page saying yes. But it starts with those new beliefs for yourself, and really in claiming that. And so part 2 in this as well is practicing opening yourself up to pleasure in your day-to-day life. Opening yourself up to pleasure in your day-to-day life. And this gets to be, right, we don't need to jump into the deep end of the pool. We're not getting like golden stars or an A+ by doing that. This is not where your overachiever needs to come into action, right? Instead, it's, can I slow down? Trauma response wants us to be fast and moving and not slowing down, because slowing down means being in our body. Can I slow down even just for a moment? So even, I would say, in the way of, pleasure, one of the things that I have the ladies in my Embody program doing right now is daily picking a song and just dancing. Free dancing. It's free form dancing, like not, just closing your eyes. I love closing my eyes and just dancing feeling my body where I want to feel it, playing with my hair, just feeling in this flow and getting into my body. This is where pleasure starts and self-love starts, is just accessing more touch inside of your body, more movement inside of your body. So you can add more dance into your life. That's an easy way to do that. One of the ways that I love too is you can set reminders on your phone for this, especially as we're learning new ways. Reminders on phones, like I've got like tons of reminders that pop up like every hour, right? Like one of them, let's see, I know there's one that's put like, I trust and own my magnetic power. My energy and body are sacred. That pops up for me at 1:22 every day. So having these reminders of the new beliefs you can put into your phone as well. And also just a reminder, something that I do a lot in my community is just hand to heart, taking a breath, and reminding yourself that I am safe. 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 Even this, even doing that, even just once a day, just reminding your body, touching your body. You can even touch your womb space. Our womb space is where a lot of our power and pleasure and our energy really resides in, is you can even hold your womb space of, I am safe. And taking that big deep breath. And I know so many of us have this eye roll around the breath. Everyone's like, just tell me to breathe. Like, can't just tell me something more complex to do. Isn't there more bells and whistles? Oh, I'm so glad you're so grateful. But when we put right hand to our heart, this is connecting to our body and our heart space and taking that big deep breath. What it does just scientifically, right? It brings that fight or flight system, which is, as I mentioned earlier here, which is that sympathetic nervous system that's up here. Taking a breath brings you down to this parasympathetic nervous system. And the parasympathetic nervous system is calm, safety, it's all okay. But when we're used to living up here, it like doesn't feel calm and safe and okay down here. But it's practicing bringing yourself down, bringing yourself to your body and experiencing your body, which then opens yourself to the pleasure, which opens yourself to the self-love. So it's all connected. So grateful for this training. So spot on. Oh, I'm so happy, my love. I'm so happy. So happy it connected to you. So write out those new beliefs, put them in your phone if you want to, right? Start owning them, claiming them, right? I am in the process of feeling more safe in my body. I am opening myself up to more pleasure in this world. I'm on the journey of more self-love, all these pieces. And then bringing more of that pleasure, right? Slowing down when you put on your lotion, slowing down when you're taking a shower, although sometimes you might need to rush because you got shit to do. But slowing down, dancing, right? Maybe allowing yourself some self-pleasure, right? I know a lot of people call it a self-pleasure practice. It's not a practice, it's just self-pleasure. It's just being. Pleasure is being with your body. Pleasure is being with the love inside of yourself. Pleasure is like celebrating who you are. And that is self-love, unconditionally who you are, that you are enough, that you are magical, that you are wonderful, that you are valuable, that you are divine, that you are beautiful and sexy and amazing and loving and all of these pieces. And you don't have to do one dang thing. Just as you are, you're all those things. Just as you are. That's the self-love piece and allowing that pleasure to come in. Love is pleasure and pleasure is love. So good. I'm so happy, Bethany. You guys are so amazing. I feel all in the feels. Let me just check in to see if there's anything else. I know we're just at an hour. I told you, didn't know if this is going to be half hour, 45, an hour. Usually they're about an hour. But I just want to check in, see if there's anything else that's coming out. Trust. Trust the process, trust the unfolding, trust the evolution of who you are. Trust and allow, open to yourself, open to the love, open up to the pleasure. Understand that there's no rush. There's no rush. You don't have to rush this process. Allow the process. Don't push. Don't say it's not good enough. What you are doing, showing up as you, is always good enough. And allowing the love of that, allowing you to say, I am enough. My body is enough. My pleasure is enough. How I experience this world is enough. My emotions are enough. My body is enough to keep me safe. My body is enough to keep me safe. I am safe. Kelly, my love. Hi, Chelsea, just popping on, but we'll be sure to catch the replay. Yes, definitely catch the replay. It was quite a good one. And just allow. And one last little piece when it comes to pleasure, either kind of that more of what's in the realm of that sexual pleasure, whether it's with yourself or with the partner, just everywhere, even with the sunshine, can you allow yourself to open just a millimeter more? Especially with trauma, we have to respect and honor that we can't just bust everything wide open. We want to slowly open yourself and your heart and your body so it feels safe in the opening. We want the opening to feel safe, not just push and rush it. So as you're opening more, see if you could stay with the sun. Like when you feel, right, we all have this moment where we're like, okay, that's enough. See if you can face the sun just a second longer. And maybe when you're in self-pleasure, maybe you do have orgasm at that point, and maybe you haven't ever experienced orgasm. Maybe that's there, but see if you could just stay with yourself a second longer. This will open your capacity to hold more inside of yourself. When maybe your partner is holding you and hugging you, you have that feeling of, oh, that's enough, right? It's the release. Can you hold that just a second longer? Can you allow the pleasure of that to move into your body just a second longer? 1 second. That's all I'm asking of you, ladies. 1 second in every moment is going to add to even more moments that you can open until your life is not lived by just seconds of pleasure, but your life is lived in the whole. Every moment is pleasure and love. Every moment. Every single moment, because you deserve it. All right, love bugs. Thank you so much for just trusting me to be in this space with you, ladies. And if you want to follow me and go deeper into my world, you can find me on Facebook. Just click on my name. I'm there. And I'll probably share in this just my link tree. So there's just all the different offers I have, or ways to work with me, ways to be in my world. I have Instagram, so at Dr. Chelsea Page on Instagram. So if you need anything, just reach out to me. I'm here for you, ladies. And I hope you have an amazing rest of this month, all about self-love and self-care. And I just hope you continue one more moment. Pleasure is experienced from moment to moment until it's all the same moment. So allow that to happen for yourself. And I hope to see you ladies around. I'll wish you the best, and I gotta hop off because I'm gonna eat, and then I'm teaching another lesson on all this in self-pleasure in my Embodied program, so it's a fun day for me. All right, ladies, Kelly, Bethany, Samira, every lady's on here watching on the replay. I love you so much, and enjoy the love, enjoy the pleasure, enjoy yourself, because you deserve it.